Hey guys, this is Jason at Ken Sporting Goods. We're almost to 1,000 Instagram followers. Tell your friends, like us, come down, see us. Thank you so much for your loyalty.
What up, y'all? Boostman here with a quick 2 cent. If you want to become a 5-star athlete, here's what you need to do. Number 1, you need to give great effort and never allow your effort to be questioned. Number 2, be accountable for your actions and never blame coaches, teachers, or your parents. Number 3, stay disciplined. Make sure all your actions are moving you in the direction of where you want to go. Number 4, be your best athlete. Make sure you're on the right type of diet, you're speed training, strength training, getting plenty of rest and recovery, and more importantly, you're becoming a student of the game. And finally, number 5, achieve high academic performance. Because high performance isn't just limited to sports, it's who you are and all you do. Boostman.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Pep Fernandez from the Inland Sports Show. I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you. Thank you for your support over the last several years. In fact, we're going on year number 8 of the Inland Sports Show. It has certainly changed and evolved over the years, and you guys have been along for the entire journey. So thank you very much. We really appreciate it. We're on social media, so if you're already following us or subscribing, great. But you can also tell your teammates, your people at school, your family, your friends. There's the Inland Sports YouTube channel, approaching 2 million views. We got several thousand subscribers. We appreciate it. And make sure you share with other folks who might not be subscribing. Same goes for Twitter. We're on Twitter as well. And if you're looking for immediate results, breaking news, we post pictures and shorter videos. Check us out on Twitter. That's Inland_Sports on Twitter. And we're also on Facebook. Yeah, we're still doing Facebook. In fact, we live stream the Inland Sports Show on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, you can check it out there live on Wednesday nights at 6:05 p.m. We're also on the gram, the IG. If you want to see pictures and shorter videos from a lot of the games and events that we go to, you can check it out on Instagram. So if you support us by following along on social media, thank you so much. And if you'd like to take that to the next level, Inland Sports also has a Venmo account. If you'd like to financially support the show, you appreciate the service we provide to the IE, you can do that as well. Again, this is just an opportunity to say thank you to all you guys out there who follow the Inland Sports Show. You watch the Inland Sports Show each and every week. Thank you guys so much, and the best is yet to come. What is up, everybody? This is Pep Fernandez from the Inland Sports Show with your high school football Friday night recap, going over a bunch of highlights and scores from week 1 of the high school football season. We appreciate you finding us here on the Inland Sports YouTube channel. We're still hoping to be back on IEMG Sports Weekly Live, still working out some things behind the scenes. But until then, you can find us here trying to bring you the best high school football coverage here in our inland sports coverage area. And it looks like it looks like we got about highlights from 10 different games, which is pretty good. And we've got a bunch of scores to pass along as well. So again, if you watch Sports Weekly Live, this show on Inland Sports will be a little bit different, a little bit less formal, I guess you could say. And usually the Sports Weekly Live show on IEMG is about an hour long. We go 60 minutes, 11 till midnight. This will probably be more like 30 minutes, but again, still highlights from about 10 different games and a bunch of scores to pass along. So if you're watching us live right now, make sure you hit that subscribe button for us. Give us a like. In fact, I got it on right now. I'm watching the show right here. And thank you again for checking us out. Okay, so let's get to the highlights here, and we will start with, I knew this was going to be a good game, and it's probably not going to do this game justice. It was Ramona taking on Kaiser. We have some early highlights from this one, and again, this one went down to the wire. And this is some early highlights in this one as the two teams went back and forth. A lot of scoring in this game, and we knew that coming in because two great head coaches in Billy Cardosi and Ken Mashinsky. Some great running games. Bo Bruins, you got Kyle Tyler, and of course Jonathan Marshall for Kaiser. So we knew they were going to put points on the board, and they did it fast. So let's take you out there to Kaiser High School and check out Ramona. The Rams on the road at the Kaiser Cats, and it was, it's week 1. It's still hot out there across the Inland Empire. There is number 1, that's Kyle Tyler. Number 2, Jonathan Marshall for the Kaiser Cats, the best maybe 1-2 punch in terms of a running attack in the IE. And there's Nathan Johnson, the big-time quarterback for the Ramona Rams. Ken Mashinsky, his father, head coach. And there's lots of rings at Kaiser. I think they got 4 CIF championship rings. Coach Cardosi knows all about that. So let's get some of the highlights. Nathan Johnson to Jacob Valenzuela. This is on the opening drive for the Rams. He gone into the end zone for the touchdown, and Ramona strikes first, a 7-0 lead for Ram High on the road. And this was just the beginning of this track meet between these two great teams. This time, Kyle Tyler playing a little receiver action, gets loose behind the defense and goes in for a score. We weren't even 3 minutes into this game, and it was already 7-7. You knew this was going to be having an epic finish. And then on the ensuing kick return, he's only 5'3", but how about Luis Villarreal? Big return there for the Rams. Rams go on offense, but this time it's Jordan Daniels hauling in the touchdown here for Ramona. They go up by a score of 14-7. So a couple TD passes for Nathan Johnson so far in this game. Back to Kaiser, this time Jonathan Marshall, big-time run, man, staying on his feet. Good run there by Marshall, but the Cats would come up empty on this drive, trying to do the old double reverse, and there is the Rams' Isaac Guerrero on the tackle. So now we go back to Ram High. We haven't had Bo Bruins in the highlights yet, but here comes Bo Bruins. Big run for Bruins, gets the offense moving in the right direction for Ramona. And then it's going to be another great catch by Valenzuela. Hauls it in for Ram High. And that would set up this. Here comes Bo Bruins. And he's going to be breaking loose on the touchdown run. So Ramona would go up 21-7 at this point. And this one was a photo finish. Again, these highlights probably doesn't do the game justice. Kaiser wins 36-35, the final score. What a game tonight. Coach Cardosi hit me up. Let's go over some of the stats real quick. Tyler, 22 carries, 197 yards on the ground. He caught 3 passes, had 2 touchdowns. And Marshall, 28 carries, 136 yards. He had a couple touchdowns as well. And so big win for Kaiser. They now move to 2-0 on the season, holding off Ramona 36-35. In fact, I think Kaiser had a touchdown and a 2-point conversion in the fourth quarter. 8 points in the fourth quarter, the difference in that one, 36-35, the final score. All right, so Kaiser's 2-0, and here's another, I guess you'd call it a feel-good story here early on in the high school football season. Our good friend, our dear friend, Dennis Gregovich, stepped down at Hemet High School, and stepping in, he's maybe most known for being the softball coach. Jeff Galloway is the head coach of the Bulldogs, and just like Kaiser, Hemet has also raced out to a 2-0 start. Let's check out the Bulldogs on the road out at Indio, and pretty cool here. I love this stuff. Unfortunately, remember we had those U.S. soldiers, the Marines, who were killed in Afghanistan trying to help people flee the airport there. And they were honoring those, including Kareem Nakui from Norco. So we have one right here in the Inland Empire. Let's get to the highlights. And this one, Hemet and Indio. And Hemet in week 0 beat Rancho Mirage 16-9. And here we go, beating another Coachella Valley area team on that pick 6. It was Orion Hudson taking it back to the house for Hemet. So back-to-back wins against desert teams for the Bulldogs as they go on to beat Indio tonight, 37-6, the final score. Big win for Hemet. Congrats to Coach Galloway. The Bulldogs are 2-0 on the season. Again, after beating 2 of those teams out in the desert. And now, man, we got a really good matchup featuring 2 2-0 teams coming up next Thursday as Hemet will take on Liberty. The Bison getting their first win on their home field, their first varsity win on their home field. And we're going to get to those highlights in just a second. So that Hemet versus Liberty game looks pretty good on paper right now. 2 undefeated teams, 2 teams that are 2-0 to start the season. All right, so back here live, not to the studio, but my living room tonight. Again, another Inland Sports edition of our Friday Night Football recap. Okay, so we told you Liberty also moving to 2-0. We saw last week we had highlights of them beating Valley View for their first ever varsity win. Well, tonight, head coach Craig Broach and the guys back home on their home field, taking on A.B. Miller. The Rebels trying to punch one in on 4th down, but it's a big-time stop for the Bison. Eddie Smith in on that play. And then it's going to be, check this out, and he is big-time player too, Andre Skelton. Down the sideline he goes. A big shout-out to Obi-Wan Jabroni for the highlights here. He always hooks it up. And a big touchdown run by Skelton. And here he's going to actually take in this pass and go in for another score for the Bison. They would run away from A.B. Miller in this one. How about one more score? This one coming from the defensive side of the football. The old scoop and score by Jeremiah McClure. Taking it back for the Bison. And a defensive touchdown, turning that into points. And Liberty wins by final score of 42-0 against A.B. Miller tonight. So Liberty 2-0, Hemet 2-0. That's going to be a great game come next Thursday night. All right, now let's go to this one. You can watch the entire game on Teen Vision TV 16, but here's some of the highlights. It was Orange Vista taking on Hillcrest. We had head coach Travis Carter on the Inland Sports Show this past week, and he knew Orange Vista was going to be good. They would be tough, and they proved that despite kind of a slow start. It was a battle in the first half between the Trojans and the Coyotes. Let's go out to Orange Vista High School. Freshman quarterback Khalil Aziz to Saray Gaines on the touchdown there. Gaines gains a score, and just like that, Orange Vista's on top. And how about this pass from Aziz to Deontay West. West gets loose. He's still on his feet. Man, this Orange Vista team is so fast, so athletic, fights his way across the goal line and in for the score. Hillcrest QB Jason Flores trying to get his team into the end zone here. Flores takes a crack downfield, has a man open. Oh, could not connect. So let's try it again. Flores trying to get, his team into the end zone, and that one just tipped away by Orange Vista. So it's a 7-3 game at this point. And here comes Hillcrest stepping up on defense. That's Jeremiah Martinez. The interception there for Hillcrest. Remember, it was just a 4-point game in the second quarter, so it was very close. Hillcrest quarterback Flores to Matt Klein. Big pickup by Klein, just gets tripped up, but here he comes. He did the work, time to get paid, goes in for the touchdown. So Hillcrest actually led 10-7. But here come the Coyotes. Big pass play from Aziz to Gaines, in for another touchdown. Orange Vista would really get on a roll in the second half. Here comes Laissez Magale. Pick 6. House call for Orange Vista, Magale. And here comes Aziz to Anthony Himes. One more time, another TD for Orange Vista. They go on to defeat Hillcrest 39-10. So remember, Hillcrest once led 10-7. So my quick math says 32 unanswered for Orange Vista to get that win. So it looks like head coach Greg Zomalt has a really special group. Now, we are efforting highlights of the Rancho Verde and Citrus Valley. We can tell you it was close in the first half, not so close in the second half. Citrus Valley would roll out to a very big win. Still waiting for those highlights. If we don't get them in time for tonight's show, we'll definitely get them on the Inland Sports YouTube channel. Big shout out to my guy Carl for hooking us up. I really do appreciate it. All right, how about some more Thursday night foosball action? It was Carter at home against La Quinta. You know, the Lions started out the season with a nice win against Los Osos. I know head coach Felipe Salas, he was fired up about that opening, week 0 win. And what a great tradition the Carter Lions have. They leave the stadium through the stairs, then they come back down the stairs to re-enter the field to get ready for the game. They were taking on the La Quinta Blackhawks. And I thought this was going to be a very close game, but La Quinta jumped on Carter early. The Lions were able to make it closer in the end, but La Quinta able to mount a big lead early on, and it would be too much for Carter. This is sophomore Aiden Insabuga. Big run here for the La Quinta Blackhawks. And here comes a run down to the goal line for La Quinta, and that would set up the first touchdown of the game. It's going to be La Quinta quarterback Thomas Ansley getting in for the score, 6-0 La Quinta. They did not get the extra point there. So now Carter coming up on the return. It's Marcus Copperfield. He's a magician. Copperfield, the big return for Carter, making guys miss. You see me now, now you don't. A big return there for Copperfield. So the Lions go on offense. Quarterback Jonathan Salas to Miguel Ramirez. That's my guy, Miggy. And then it's going to be Salas dropping back. Fakes and calls his own number. There he goes. Salas, a big run right into your living room to the goal line, to the pylon. And that would set up this. Philip Johnson going in for the score here for Carter. They would not get the extra point. So it's 6-6, but Carter able to respawn after La Quinta scored that early touchdown. So 6-6 at this point. Carter's defense trying to hold down the Blackhawks, doing the best they can. Big stop here in the backfield. But La Quinta's got this great running back. He's number 3. He's only a sophomore, and I think he really had his big coming out party against Carter. There he is again. Insabuga, 50 yards on the touchdown run, makes it 12-6. So La Quinta takes the lead. Next offensive possession for the Blackhawks. About another 50-yard run from Insabuga. 50 yards for the score. Down the sideline he goes. It's 18-6. La Quinta on top. And the Carter Lions just trying to slow them down and keep this a ball game in the first half. We told you the Blackhawks were able to build that lead, and they would continue to pad that lead. Here comes Ainsley with a big throw, and nice catch on the other end, right there on the doorstep. That would set up another La Quinta touchdown as they take the plunge across the goal line. And La Quinta goes on to win this one by final score of 44-27. So, again, the Lions able to make things a little bit closer in the second half, but too little too late as La Quinta's that big lead would stand up 44-27, the final score there. So the Carter Lions fall to 1-1 on the season. All right, let's see. Now let's go to a rivalry game. I forget who hit me up on the gram this week, and they said, hey, Arroyo Valley versus Indian Springs, you got to be there. And I'm like, hey, listen, we're really short-handed right now, but we'll try. And we did. And we actually got a couple good highlights. Let's take you out there. Arroyo Valley taking on Indian Springs. Let me grab my shot sheet. Here it is with the highlights. We picked things up in the second quarter. Indian Springs up 22-6, but you can never count out the Hawks. Here comes quarterback Wanye Morris. There he is, too. Charvon Thomas for the touchdown here for Arroyo Valley. So that makes it 22-14 after the 2-point conversion, because here comes Tukutau Tupuata. I hope I got that right. 2-point conversion by the big fella makes it 22-14. Yes, what up, guys? And there's Arroyo Valley's new head coach, TJ Stanford. Got a big win against Arrowhead Christian last week in his varsity debut. And there he is on the sidelines. And how about the ensuing kickoff? We're going to show you this one because Jesse Jimenez is going to rip off a big run. Jimenez, actually, he was getting a little close to our camera. Look out! Here he comes. Nice return by Jimenez. So Indian Springs, first offensive possession in the third quarter. Now a little screen pass from old Binky Harris to Nemo Neal. And Neal takes it inside the 5, and that'll set up this. Harris calls his own number and trots into the end zone for the touchdown. Here comes the 2-point conversion, and watch this catch by Kelvin Ford. Great throw by Harris, but check out Ford coming back to the football, and he is there. Indian Springs goes on to win by a final score of 42-14. So the Coyotes are 2-0 to start the season. Congratulations to head coach Chris Chaddick and the guys. All right, we're just bouncing around. A lot of highlights and as many scores as we can get to. It was the Riverside TV Game of the Week. Redlands taking on King. And I'll tell you what, man, going back to week 0, King went toe-to-toe with Roosevelt. I know Roosevelt won by a touchdown, 28-21, but the fact that King was hanging with a very good Tommy Leach team said, hey, you know what? This King team might be set up to have a pretty big season. Well, they were taking on a Redlands squad. The Terriers making their season debut, their first game of the year here in week number 1. And I know they've got a lot of guys who are experienced, getting experience as freshmen last year. Quarterback, running back, a lot of guys were Redlands, so they were hoping that would pay off this year. But tonight, man, King simply too much tonight against the Terriers. We're going to start with some defense. Who doesn't like some good old-fashioned defense on Riverside TV? That's Sam Green, pick 6 for the King Wolves. And they strike first. That's how they crack open the scoring, 6-0 on the pick 6 from Sam Green. And then it's going to be Dayton Ford, the touchdown. Now watch this. He takes the pitch, nothing doing on the left side. He'll try the right side, and he's off to the races. Ford going about, I'd say 65 yards on this touchdown for the King Wolves, and this is still in the first quarter. I mean, we are barely, 3.5 minutes into this game, and it's already 14-0 the King Wolves. Now, Redlands, they would get a spark here on the ensuing kickoff. He's not on the Max Preps roster, but we're going to give him some love anyways. It's number 5 for Redlands, taking it back for the touchdown here. So at that point, it's a 14-7 game. You're thinking, okay, Terriers got a spark. They got some momentum, but here comes King again. This time, it's going to be Elijah Simley Flores. Somehow squirts out of all that traffic, came out of that big pile, gets in for the score for Simley Flores. Touchdown for the King Wolves, and here comes Galvin Riker with another TD for King. They go on to beat Redlands tonight by a final score of 55-14. So head coach Jason McMains, they go to 1-1 on the season. Redlands 0-1. Again, this is their first game of the year. All right, the highlights roll on here. Jurupa Hills taking on Cajon tonight. Give Coach Kendrick Harris a follow on Instagram. Man, this guy is loading tons of video. We do appreciate it. This guy is the man. Jurupa Hills and Cajon, kind of a low-scoring first half. Not a lot doing. Cajon was able to get a touchdown very late in the second quarter to make it 14-0 at halftime. So still kind of a reasonable score, right? But in the second half, the Cowboys got it cracking. They would go on to win. Let's see, where's my scoreboard? I got too many papers going on over here. Let's see. Well, Cajon would go on to win 34-0, the final in this one against Jurupa Hills, as both teams were making their season debut tonight in week number 1. All right, at SBVC, San Bernardino Valley College, it was Notre Dame taking on Arrowhead Christian. It went down to the wire, and this is how it finished. And ACA, with about a minute and a half to play, it's going to be Wyatt Gruner scoring the winning touchdown as ACA defeats Notre Dame by a final score of 20-16. So congratulations to the Eagles getting that big win tonight against Notre Dame. All right, let's go ahead and hit the scoreboard real quick, and you're going to see all the scores, pretty much all the scores that we had when we went to airtime at 11:05. These are all the scores that we had. So without further ado, let's just go ahead. Actually, let me put this on loop real quick. Being a little short-handed, I'm doing like a one-man band. I'm directing stuff over here behind the scenes as well. Now let's go to the scoreboard. And there's a bunch of scores we do want to point out because we did have some pretty big games here in week number 1 of the season. Citrus Valley, big win against Rancho Verde. Kind of close in the first half, not so close in the second half. Still efforting some highlights from my guy Carl, and I do appreciate it, Carl. If you can't get it to us in time, by the time we wrap up here, which we're probably going to wrap up here in about 5 minutes, we'll make sure we put them on the YouTube channel so people can check that out. Let's see, going down the list, Centennial beating Cathedral Catholic 42-7. What I want to say about that is Mater Dei tonight was able to come back and beat Bishop Gorman by 3, 24-21. So now Centennial will host Mater Dei next Friday. That will be one of the biggest games, not only in the southern section, not only in the state, but the entire country. So Centennial, nice win down in San Diego tonight. They get Mater Dei, who survives Bishop Gorman tonight. Norco coming up short against Santa Margarita in another Big 8 League versus Trinity League battle. Always love those when those two leagues get together. Vista Murrieta over Murrieta Mesa 37-14. Murrieta Valley 52-14 against Great Oak as the Nighthawks cracked open the season tonight. Chaparral just a little bit short against Tesoro. Temecula Valley, they win the Perpetual Trophy again. The Golden Bears beating their rival Elsinore 35-7 tonight. Nice win for Coach Esposito and the guys down there. San G falling to Chaffee 46-18. You saw the highlights, some highlights. Again, probably didn't do it justice because this was a game that went back and forth till the very end. Kaiser won better than Ramona. Still looking for an Eisenhower versus Temescal Canyon score. Still looking for Colton versus Grand Terrace. Although I can tell you, Grand Terrace won, and they won big, and I think it was 53-6, but I didn't see it say final, so I didn't go with it. But Grand Terrace won, just know that. Rim of the World, Coach Dorado, thanks for hitting us up on Twitter, 48-6 against Little Rock, and it was Indian Springs. You saw the highlights, 42-14 against Arroyo Valley. Granite Hills in Rialto. Granite Hills won big. I think it was 44-14. Didn't have it in time to put it on this graphic, but Granite Hills did win by about 30. ACA beating Notre Dame. Rancho Christian, they've got a nice squad. Rancho Christian might have a chance to win that Inland Valley League championship. They're new to the Raincross Conference, but they pick up the big win against a very good San Bernardino team, 43-8. Harupa Valley. Oh, actually, I should put some respect on their name. Super Duper Harupa Valley, 35-12 against Desert Hot Springs. Big win for the Jaguars. Patriot against Rubidoux in a rivalry game, 49-20. Liberty, you saw that highlight, 42-0 against A.B. Miller. Norte Vista versus Claremont, that game was canceled this week, citing COVID. La Sierra just short against Rancho Alamitos. Shadow Hills all over Citrus Hill, 56-0, the final score in that one. Tockwitz, nice win against Lakeside, 34-13. You know, I think about that nice win for Lakeside last week against Arlington. So that makes Tocquitz's win tonight look even more impressive, I guess. West Valley against Cathedral City, 43-14. Mustangs get that win. Canyon Springs clobbers Vanny, 60-12. Hemet, 2-0. Look out for the Bulldogs, 37-6 against Indio. And Paloma Valley, I think they're going to enjoy a real bounce-back season. The Wildcats beating Moreno Valley, 42-20. The final score. So those are some of the Friday night scores from week 1. And we had highlights from, let's see, 1, 2. I'll make sure we didn't miss anything here as I count down here. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, yeah, we had 9 games. And I was thinking we were going to have 10 or 11 tonight, but we got 9 in here. And it's 11:35. So, hey, I think we did pretty good, all things considered. And again, if you're just joining us, we're hoping, fingers crossed, Sports Weekly Live on IEMG will be returning as early as next week. And we're excited about it because it gives us more resources. We have more guys. We can go out and cover more games. We can do the whole hour-long show. And it's just not the Pep Fernandez show. But a special shout-out to all of our supporters out there. If you're watching us live right now, we do have a thanks button here on the video. So if it's down there and you feel inclined to make a small donation towards the show, we'd appreciate it. Shout out to our guy Alexander Madison for contributing to our show. We do appreciate it because we love what we do. We love bringing you high school sports here in the Inland Empire, and especially on Friday nights doing high school football. But as soon as we get some more of that funding in, we will be able to cover more games. I think it will happen. I'm optimistic it will happen. So as early as next week, Sports Weekly Live in all its glory might return again as early as next week in week number 2. If not, we'll be back here and we'll do as good, as much as we can. Big shout out to my guys at Inland Sports behind the scenes who went out and got us some highlights, and I do appreciate it. Not as much as usual. We'll probably get about another 5 or 6 games on top of what we had tonight if we had the whole crew. But I do appreciate you guys tuning in and checking out some high school football highlights with us. Let's see. I'm going to jump on YouTube real quick before we close things out. Make sure it's still going. Again, doing it from home and being kind of like the one-man band. We usually have a director and all kinds of stuff. So, it looks like everyone's watching. Okay, I think we're in good shape here. So anyways, my name is Pep Fernandez. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'd really appreciate it. Make sure you like this video and share it. Share it with everybody you know. We'd really appreciate it. The more views, the better, and it'll help us grow the YouTube channel as well as so people know that, when you're looking for high school football shows and highlights and videos, we're the place. And coming up early next week, we'll try to do all those same features that we did last week, the Week 1 All-Stars, the Boost Top 25, the Big Boost Play of the Week, the Kent Sporting Goods must-see game, and our top games for week number 2 coming up. And I'll tell you right now, we got some doozies next week. We mentioned, Hemet versus Liberty, of course, Centennial versus Mater Dei, probably the biggest game in the country come next week. So we've got some huge games on the horizon in week number 2. All right, that's going to be a wrap. My name is Pep Fernandez. Thank you for staying up late tonight. This show will live forever here on the Inland Sports YouTube channel. Getting some messages coming in. My phone's blowing up. I'm trying to talk and look at all my messages at the same time. Listen, I appreciate you guys. You guys are the best, man. We love high school football. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Make sure you check back to the Inland Sports YouTube channel on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday with more content from high school football as we get ready for week number 2. I'm Pep Fernandez, and we will see you next time.